Hello, everyone. Like, subscribe, and comment if you like what I'm talking about, what my content is. Today's discussion is going to be, why do men disrespect and abuse women? Men, usually the ones that do these things, they like to say, it's because women are pieces of poop, and that they're whores, and they're this, and they're that, and that they deserve it, and whatever. But what the real cause is, it's not every woman that they come in contact with. It's their view on women that they come in contact with. Their view and beliefs of what women are and how they should be treated to begin with. And where does this all stem from? Where does it come from? Where do these beliefs that they have grown accustomed to come from? Well, more than likely, it stems back into their childhood. When they were children. I've got to get this lighting right. It's killing me. It's either blinding me or it's too dark. Usually, it's from their childhood. Almost always, it comes from their relationship with their mother. If they even had a mother. If they felt abandoned by their mother. If they saw their mother with many guys when they grew up, or their mother treated them badly, or abused them themselves, or you see where I'm going with this. Usually it's something to do with the mother figure in their life, how they felt about them, and usually that carries on almost every time into their adulthood, where they take it out on other women. Like me, for instance. I have a lot of experience in that area, right from when I was a teenager, even before that, when I was growing up, with my own father. My own father was abusive, and he wasn't physically abusive to me, but he was verbally. So I had that when I was growing up, and it was like not having a father, because when I was born, my father was in the Marines, so I didn't even have a bond with him when I was a baby. Until I was like 2 did I see him, and at that point, men were foreign to me. So that's a whole different story. But starting with that, my father himself also was physically abusive. I had to listen to and watch that when I was growing up. So, yeah, that skewed my thought on men right from the beginning. Anywho, after that, as a teenager, I had gotten together with a boyfriend that was very abusive, and then after that, I had gotten married, and he was abusive, and then right down the line, there was a couple more, but yay for that. And I learned a lot between research and my experience myself about these things, so nobody can tell me, you don't know what you're talking about, because yes, I do. Oh, yes, I do. First-hand Many different ways, size, shapes, and forms. Yeehaw! But anywho, a lot of this stems from how these men viewed their mothers when they were growing up. A lot of it usually does. It doesn't even have to be that they were physically abused by anybody in their life. If they have a skewed perception of women starting back from feeling like they were abandoned by their mother, or that the mother was the reason why maybe she wasn't with the father, that the father wasn't around, or that they had a bad role model that was teaching them to be this way towards women or something. Usually that's what happens. Almost every time there's some problem in the woman category that with the mom that went unnoticed, being neglected even by their mother, anything like that, or that they didn't have a mother at all whatsoever, like growing up. So then their whole perception gets skewed on women and how they feel about them. And then, of course, outright, if the mother treats them like crap, then, or criticize them heavily all the time, and things like that, makes them feel bad about themselves. It could be a million different things, but it's usually those things, all the one or several of the things I already mentioned. Now, these people, usually as an adult, or as they start dealing with girls, women, as teenagers and growing up to adulthood, they start, you'll see them disrespecting women and treating them badly and being abusive towards them. It's like they're taking all these things that they wanted to say and do to the mother out on the women that they're with or something. Like it seems a lot like that. Like I've seen that a lot. I've had 4 different men that I've been with in my lifetime that were very abusive. Well, 5. Started with my father, was mentally, verbally abusive, so I tried to stay away from him a lot. We didn't get along when I was a kid whatsoever. And then it turned into abusive from an early on boyfriend, and then that was cut short very quickly, and then it carried into a husband that was very abusive, and I didn't know physical abuse until then. Yeehaw. Anywho, I'd gotten out of that and unknowingly jumped right into another abusive relationship that was probably 10 times worse than that. And then further on, and that was back when I was like 19 years old, and then 18 years old, and then further on from that, as an adult into my 40s, then ended up with the worst of the bunch, the worst of all, the worst of all. But we're not gonna go into that kind of area right now. But anywho, things that you could look for are for red flags. Besides the fact that the first thing that you should ask somebody is, how do you feel about your mom? How's your relationship with your mom? And how do you feel about that? Ask these questions first. Find out if they dealt with any of these things in any way, size, shape, or form other than sticking a bottle of alcohol in their mouth or doing drugs or whatever kind of destructive behavior they started having. Usually towards women, of course. But definitely, oh, by the way, for those of you that are now joining me, I am having a discussion about men that disrespect and abuse women and some of the reasons why they do that and where it all stems from. And we are at the point of where we are talking about the red flags. The red flags of it all. Always find out what kind of relationship your guy had with his mom. How he feels about his mom, if he had a mom, and how she treated him, and if she's still around, watch what the dynamic is. See if he's dealt with any of these things that had happened with him, or how he felt about anything she said or did or didn't do in his life when he was growing up, because it's going to play a humongous role in how he acts with women as an adult. Yes, it will. And it can be very destructive and very painful. Extremely. But always ask these questions first. And if you're already with somebody and they do things like they're extremely jealous of other people around you, whether it's family, friends, other guys, if they act very jealous, red flag. If they act envious a lot of other people, they're about always putting them down and stuff like that, be rest assured, it's coming at you next. You will be getting it next. They usually they start off small with things like little sliders, like backhanded comments, different things like, oh, that's a nice dress on you for being the size that you are. Like you see how they slide in the little crappy thing that takes away the nice thing they said at the beginning of that. It's a little sneaky scale that they do. Things like that. And at first, it will seem like, it's nothing. Oh, it's just, and they'll say things like, oh, I was just joking. They'll say something nasty and, oh, I was just kidding. But they're really not. They're sticking those little pins in you one by one by one, and they add up after a while, and you'll tend to lose yourself to all that. You will lose yourself, and your self-esteem will plummet to the bottom of the abyss by the time they're done with you. So as soon as you start seeing things like this, behaviors like this, things that they say like this, run. Run as fast as your little legs can take you. And don't look back. Don't look back. Because it doesn't get better. It doesn't get better. And then when it comes to the point of them getting in your face and them trying to intimidate you, standing over you like they're making you small. They're trying to be bigger than you and make you small and be superior to you and make you inferior by standing above you or getting in your face and saying things and trying to scare you into doing whatever they want. because you're not doing what they want or saying what they want. So, or doing or saying things that they don't like. So, they're going to find ways to come at you, and they're going to be sneaky little nasty ways, and then they're going to get bigger and uglier as it goes on. The longer that you deal with it and take it, the worse it's going to get. I promise you, the worse it will get. On top of that, it won't stop. It won't just, you can't think, oh, I'll have a baby and that will make him better. Oh, I'll get him to marry me and then he'll be better. No. These things, at that point, you're locked in and it's going to be 50,000 times worse. Like, and then you're going to be trapped trying to think, how am I going to get away? And by that time, you're going to be roped in, stuck there. Like, money's going to be an issue. Leaving's going to be an issue. Having the child with them is going to be an issue. Everything is going to become much harder. So you're going to want to pay attention to all these red flags as you see them and act on them immediately. Like training a dog. When you're training a dog, right? And I'm not comparing men to dogs. Burk. But not all of them are. But anywho, we're not in that subject either. But just like training a dog, if you keep letting it get away with something, then when you finally yell at it, it's looking at you like you're retarded. Like, what? And like, and it's going to keep doing it. It's not going to respond. It's going to freak out. So it's like that. When somebody's saying or doing things disrespectful to you, especially if they're raising a hand to you, one time is one too many. Don't let it get to be the second time. Don't let it be the third time. Don't let it be the, oh, but he said he's changed. He said he's going to do better. No, he won't. No, he doesn't. It doesn't happen. Every single time that you go back, it will get worse. I'm telling you this as a fact, that it will happen. I've seen it. I've dealt with it. And I've also talked to other people. It's always the same thing. Research will tell you, statistical fact, it is a fact. It isn't anything that it can be twisted and molded around to be something different. It's not going to be different. It's going to be exactly the way I'm telling you it's going to be right now. Right now. Like, unless you turn around and beat the crap out of this person after he pounds you, that he decides that he don't want to play that game anymore, which a lot of times it still won't happen. So, unless this person is actually dealing with the traumas that they had, or perceived traumas, or neglect, or whatever problem that they had since they were a child, that they started viewing women in this way, like they could tell them what to do, and they can make them do what they want them to do, and stuff like that, that they can do that to another adult or another person to begin with, to take their rights away. Like, they think that they can, for some reason, like they're Hitler, or a prison warden. If you're in prison, if you're in jail, that's a lot what it's going to feel like, and you're not going to like it. So you really don't want to stay there. You don't want to stay there, and you don't want to trust this person. Because as soon as they get you, and usually, especially when it's abusive guys, they'll do it behind closed doors. Because they don't want people to know this. They don't like being exposed. They don't like other people to see or know what they're doing, because it's a sneaky little endeavor, usually. Usually it's a sneaky endeavor. Everybody thinks that they know them and that they're nice and sweet and lovable, and they wouldn't say or do these things. Oh, but yes, if somebody says that they are, Usually, right off the bat, you should believe them until proven otherwise, maybe. Because you could be saving a life. You could be saving somebody. You could be helping somebody out. To believe them when they tell you, first off. Because people that are abusive, they lie. They lie because they don't want to get in trouble. Hello. Just like a little kid will lie to get out of something. These men will lie to keep from getting in trouble because they don't want to go to prison. Who does? Hello. It's not rocket science, people. So, when you see these different flags, red flags of disrespecting women, saying things like, oh, dumb broads, oh, whores, oh, sluts, oh, women are all this, women are useless, women are that, women are da da da. Be careful of them, stay far away from them, don't be with them, and if you are, leave and don't go back. Because everybody can pretend something for a minute. Everybody can pretend they changed and be nice for half a minute. But I promise you, it will only take so many minutes. It could be the same day. It could be as soon as they get you alone again. It could be a month from now. People, it depends on how good somebody is at their little mask that they're hiding behind, that they want to pretend that they're nice again, but they're not. Devils behind a mask. Wolves in sheep's clothing. They are wolves in sheep's clothing. And you do not trust wolves in sheep's clothing, people. No, you don't. It don't matter how pretty they look on the outside. It doesn't matter how many things they buy and obtain and how pretty they look on the outside and how good everything looks. How many things they have. They could have a big puffy vehicle. They could have a big beautiful mansion. They could be having money up the balls. But it doesn't matter if they give you 500 gifts. They're not going to be nice to you once you get behind the closed door with them, out of the eyeballs of other people, seeing and hearing them do it. So, be forewarned. You see any of these red flags for men, get rid of them. And I don't mean kill them. Sometimes it might be self-defense. You might have no choice. But literally, like, it can be very scary. They can do very awful things to people, and they're very good at it. Usually, they're very good at it. The ones that are very slippery and good at it, very snake-like, they'll like hit you in spots, make marks in spots, or hit you or hurt you in a way that doesn't make marks. But a lot of times, if they do make one, they try to do it in an area where other people aren't going to readily see it, so other people won't readily know. But yeah. It happens, and you need to be aware of why these things are happening, but more importantly, when you see any of these behaviors, to not stick around to find out if it's going to get better, because it won't. It will not, unless the person is actively doing things. Mental health, maybe medication, whatever it is that they need, therapy, somebody for them to talk to. And I don't mean a friend. A friend is not a trained therapist. A friend a family member is not a trained therapist. They need to actively be going and seeking out help and talking to someone. And still then, it ain't over until they're really done with it. And you don't want to be the end-all be-all of they're done with it. You don't want to put yourself in that position. If they hit you one time, they're going to hit you 10 times. They're going to hit you 50 times. They hit you one time, they're going to not have a problem with hitting you again several times until you are dead. And if you don't want to be unalived, like people now call it, unalived, not even going to say what I think about that. But that's where you'll end up. Broken little pieces, almost crippled or dead. It's not nice. You don't want to be there, do you? You can't love yourself more than you love somebody else. That you will not let them beat you down mentally or physically and do that to you. Have some self-respect and self-esteem to yourself. Don't think if they don't love me, then I don't love myself and maybe I deserve it. No. Nobody deserves to have their civil rights taken away just for being a woman. Hello. Durr. And nobody has the right to tell another adult what to do and how to do it. Unless you're in prison. I'm not. Are you? Like, no. No, don't let these people do that to you. And if you're a child and you have somebody that is physically and mentally abusing you, saying awful things to you, doing awful things to you, tell someone, a teacher, a social worker. If you're a child, it'd probably be a teacher, probably, or a doctor, wherever you go, somewhere that there's other people. They usually can handle that situation. But as an adult, there is the House of Ruth is a big, good one. I dealt with them years ago. I was seeing a therapist at one time, talking to them many years ago. They're very good. House of Ruth also, if you're a woman that is dealing with somebody that you have to get away from, that is stalking you, which is another behavior of their stalking, showing up at your work, acting crazy, like, and you really have to get away from this person, yourself and or your kids if you have any. The House of Ruth is a great place to go. There's many domestic violence hotlines that you could call. 911, you could call. Anything. Doctors, you can tell. You can get help if you need it. Nobody has to feel like they're alone. Churches. Church. If you go to a church, almost every single time you walk into a church with any kind of problem, they're going to give you some kind of solution for it. And if they don't have the solution, if they don't have a program, if they don't have a way to help you their self on the spot, which a lot of times they really do. They do. That they will direct you in the right direction of a place to go or somebody to talk to or something that will help you out. So there's some ideas on that. And all I got to say is be safe out there. on the fly with being halfway prepared. I got out what I could think of at the moment. But I'm going to say that if you like the content, like, share, subscribe, and I'm going to try to do this more regularly on different topics, at least once a week, probably on Mondays, and get down some kind of schedule on that. More than likely, it'll probably be around 7 o'clock on a Monday. So, let's see how this goes. And sorry for being a little late. I was having technical difficulties. Anyway, have a good night, and may peace be with you all. Be safe and be blessed.